1 in 2024.
The wait is over in Bahrain, and we are just hearing that the starting grid is on the look for a new driver. Who will it be?
I'm having trouble trying to sleep. I'm counting shit.
And radio is good.
Here we go.
The Grand Prix is underway.
What a dramatic start. Can you believe it?
I feel like they're gonna bleed.
Yes!
Spawn out of my
He's lost it.
Half out, guys. That's it.
The pit lane's going to be alive now. They're all in.
on my own. Here we go. Mind is set on an overdrive. On my own. Here we go.
It's not every day that we get to see such incredible wheel-to-wheel racing.
Out of the final corner. And here's our winner today.
Can you beat me?
Yes! What a race. Thank you very much for that. Thank you to the fans.
Welcome in, everybody, to round 1 in COTA. Gotta do a little setting change here real quick. All right, so we're getting into round 1 of season 4. We are at COTA. This track in Austin, Texas is a fan favorite and also a driver favorite. There is a few areas that are great overtaking areas, such as the long DRS straight from turn 11 down to turn number 12. Track is 3.425 miles, 20 turns. As you can see, there's the 2 DRS zones. The big opportunity is turn 12 and turn 1 going up the hill. So let's see how everyone does for that. Let's get into our screen here. As you can see, the weekend is getting started. We're taking a look at our Discord right now. I believe we're waiting on one more driver, maybe 2. We were supposed to have 15 tonight. We got 13, so we're missing 2. Looks like possibly Dynamic, and I think the other one is Sasuke is missing. They did check in that they are going to race, but they have not showed up yet. So we'll give them a little bit of time here. While we're waiting, let's check out the calendar for this season. We've had our preseason race in Bahrain last weekend. We had a few bugs, technical issues, so this week we're actually running no formation lap because there's a slight bug that after the formation lap is done, it causes a data packet to cause the game to send as if they're in Australia. We don't want that. We want to get all of our data correctly, so we turn that off. We'll wait to see if there's an update for that to get fixed. Otherwise, we're just going to rock out with no formation lap. So when the guys are done qualifying and they set their strategies, we're going to get right into it right away. So for this season, we're starting in Austin, going next to Shanghai, followed by our first sprint in Japan, then Spain, Australia, and then Italy, which is another sprint. We're going to be taking a long break around the holidays to start back up in January in Portugal, followed up by Monaco Street Circuit, which our league is very well known for having attrition ratings during the street circuits, hitting the walls and whatnot. Next up after that is Belgium, followed by Hungaroring. Gonna be another sprint race. Then we've got Singapore, another street circuit, so we should have another attrition race. Hopefully not. Then we're at Qatar for another sprint, and then we're ending the season. Round 13 is going to be in Italy at Imola. So that's going to be a great way to end the season. So as of right now, there's no standings because it's the new season. Getting into it, looks like we are getting readied up. Everybody's hitting that go button. Let's see how everyone can get on. Everyone had quite some time after the calendar was released to practice. Watching the Discord, we actually had a couple teams that were working very closely together to get the strategy set correctly so that when they actually go racing, they can handle everything and make sure that they don't trip over each other and beat the rest of the competitors. One thing we are also doing for tonight, we found that requiring everyone to do 2 pit stops during the race will create a strategy gambit for everyone to try to manage. So they are not required to run all 3 compounds. They are just required to do 2 pit stops. So some guys will be doing a strategy of soft, medium, 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 soft, medium, or medium, medium, soft. I don't think anybody's going to be running the hards. If they do, it'll be interesting. So let's head on to trackside while we get everybody coming out onto the track. Get our settings set here. A little bit of a delay. Let's check the Discord real quick, make sure everything's good. All right, but race chat. Do not ready up, and there is no formation lap. Send that as a reminder. Okay, so it looks like we're getting ready here. Our track map is up. We're gonna get rid of the in-game graphics and bring up our own. And let's drop the music down, get ready for the game. Looks like we got everyone. The only car that does not have their data set is of the Racing Bulls. Let's check that real quick. That is going to be vanilla to get on the locations there. Let's see here. Vanilla Spilla. There he is. Please turn on your telemetry. I can spell. Cars are heading out onto track right now. On board with Pixelant. I don't think it was the first car out. No, it looks like it might be one of the Ferraris. Let's check here. We got another driver here, Sasuke. That's Mr. Chris. So let's go check out which cars we got setting times here. Looks like for 11, it's going to be, that's Mr. Chris. Mr. Chris putting down a purple first sector. Everyone else doing personal bests on their first sectors, which is always a good sign. Coming around the line, setting a fast time of 1:31.657 for Mr. Chris. All right, next up, across the line is going to be Pixelin. Come across the line. Yep. 1:34.567. Let's head down to another one of the players, I believe. Oh, that's not. Oh, I may have incorrectly called out our drivers. Let's see here real quick. Apologize for getting everybody's telemetry correctly. We want to make sure everyone is getting a chance. I was incorrect. I need to apologize to Vanilla. That's C-Dot. C-Dots. Please turn on your telemetry. Looks like let's head down to Echo. Oh, Echo's invalidated. Never mind. He's also on intermediates. Corey's on wets. Going out onto the track. Set the time. Let's see, dynamic. Looks like he may have got disconnected. I need to send him another invite. Mr. Chris. Oh yeah. So we'll be getting his data shortly. Let's go check out AO. AO's actually on set of softs. Coming across the line, personal best first two sectors. This is going to put him up to P4, 133, 319. Let's see. Who else is out on track? Echo's still on intermediates, trying to set a time. Sasuke coming across the line. Two green sectors. $132.651 puts him up to P2, about a second off of Mr. Chris. We're not reading any battery on Sasuke, so he might not be giving us all of his data, which happens. Like Vanilla setting a time. He's on intermediates though. Comes across the line. Sets the time, puts him P10 on the intermediates. You got Corey on the wets. So let's head down. Let's go down to one of our Ferraris down here. Mr. Hayden currently has not set a time. He is on an outlap. Coming down to turn 11. Can't that back straight. See if he can set a time. His way around the stadium. Across the line, he's going to start his flying lap now. Up the hill to turn 1. Heavy braking zone. You use the hill itself to decelerate the car as much as possible. Looks like we got his teammate putting a yellow flag up into sector 2. Going through the S's. Heavy braking to turn 12. Ooh, a little twitchy on the exit there. He's doing a personal best in the first sector. I apologize. He's coming down to turn 11. This is turn 12. I was looking at the wrong dot on the screen. I thought that was the other Ferrari. Coming around 12. 14, 15. Double left-hander. It's tricky to make sure you get the exit of that just right. Turn 20. Put the power down. Cross the line. Hayden up to P2. 1:32.644. Still about a second off of Mr. Chris, but puts down a fantastic time. Looks like Zaluxi's putting down a purple middle sector. Coming across the line. Zaluxi P1 1:31.289. Puts her up to P1 ahead of Mr. Chris, Echo, and Hayden. Sasuke in P5. So it looks like the only driver that hasn't set a time is C9, but Mr. Chris sets a fast time. 1:39.19 across that line, puts him to P1. A gap of 0.3 to Zaluxi. Great pace out of there. Looks like Corey putting down personal best in both first and second sector through turn 19 and turn 20. Across the line, let's see if he can improve. P14 up to P4 with a 1:32.593. Incredible improvement from the Racing Bull there. Looks like let's go on board with Mr. King C. Dot putting down green first and second sectors. Coming around the amphitheater and the tower. Around the last two corners. Ooh, got a little squirrely there, but keeping the power down. Across the line, C-Dot up to P11 with a 133.411. Head down to Vanilla. Just at a purple middle sector. Personal best in the first, purple in the middle. Vanilla can keep this pace up. It's going to vault him up to the front. Just under 4 minutes left in qualifying. Up to P3 for Vanilla. That's a great improvement. Back with C9. Hasn't set a time yet. Personal best in the first and second sectors. That time moves C9 up to P14 with a 134.120. So it looks like it's going to be C-Dot is, I believe, on a return lap. He's got a low battery. It's probably not going to be setting a time. Let's go with... Let's see. Some cars are coming out of the track. It's got a Ferrari and McLarens. These might be out laps. Boogie's deploying. Boogie actually might be on a timed lap. See, yep. Okay, he's on a time lap. We'll stay on board with him. Personal best in that first sector. Down the hill. Turn 11. See if his teammate Salt ahead of him can give him a tow. Along with when that DRS flap opens, drag reduction is reduced. Boogie not improving in that middle sector, but he was up in the first sector, so hopefully that'll give him enough of a boost to move up. Looks like Vanilla Spill has retired from the session. Boogie coming out of the last corner. Across the line. Improves his time, but not position. Now we'll go on board with his teammate, Some Good Salt, our Season 3 champion. Setting down a time. Currently P8. Let's see how this goes for him. So far, personal best in the first sector. AO also putting down a personal best first sector. He is ahead of him on track right now. Ooh, Salt getting loose coming out of that final corner. We got multiple personal bests across the board right now. Salt down in the second sector. Zaluxy with the fastest middle sector. Zaluxy's right behind Some Good Salt. Salt coming around the last corner. Improves up to P6. And we got Zaluxy behind, gets P1. With a 138.12. Head down to DRL Racer X. Personal best in the first and second sector. Cross line moved up to P9. Sasuke, personal best first sector, fastest middle sector. But it is an invalidated lap. This is not going to count. Losing control of the car as he comes across the line. Unfortunate. That was an invalidated lap. So that's everybody. So your fastest is Zaluxy. Let me get a screenshot of this real quick for our admin purposes. Scroll on down, get the last one there. Okay. All right. So that is qualifying. Work out the grid here. And render the grid. That's correct. All right, let's save that. But now everybody's going to be doing their setups. Hopefully nobody readies up too soon. Let's show you the grid. Grid for tonight is going to be Zaluxy P1, followed by Mr. Chris Vanilla in P3, followed by Echo. Corey up at the P5, Sasuke P6. Last season's champion P7. Ferrari of Hayden P8, followed by Dynamic in P9. The other Ferrari of DRL Racer X in P10, followed by the McLaren of Boogie. Sauber of AO. King C-Dot in the V-Car P13. C9 in P14 in the Sauber, followed up by Pixelin in the Red Bull in P15. As of right now, we're just waiting for everybody to do their strategies. Hopefully nobody readies up early so that everybody can get their strategies set correctly. Looks like everyone's behaving so far. Now again, for tonight, there's going to be a requirement for the drivers to make 2 pit stops. And that pit stop combination can be whatever they want. If they want to start on the softs to get a great launch off the line and then switch to the mediums or the hards, they are more than welcome to do that. or if they want to start on the mediums and go to softs, whichever they want to do. It is up to them, but they get to do 2 pit stops. All right, looks like somebody readied up. Let's get to the track. Let's get ready for this race. And we're off. Zluxy out front, followed by Mr. Chris. Mr. Chris making a move to the inside. Zluxy gets a little wide. Ooh, 10-second penalty for severe collision for Pixelin all the way in the back. Looks like everybody's still moving. Pixelin has some front damage on his front right. Some good salt damage on his front left. Red Bull's going side by side with the Alpine. Sasuke tucking in behind Vanilla. Salt sticking right with him. A lot of energy deploy from the guys in the back here as Mr. Chris leads us through turn 12. Sasuke looking for the move there. Keeping it tight. Goes to the inside. Now if he can get the exit. Hold it. Nope. He actually loses out to Salt in that competition between each other. This is a very tight fight for P5. Mr. Chris starts us off with a 1:35.284. Another close battle. The back here. Let's take a look. Dynamic going with a soft tire to start this race out. Looks like both Mercedes actually have taken the strategy gamble starting with the softs, which will not last very long. Let's check it out here, what the expected tire life is. For the softs, they're expecting 8 to 10 laps. Zluxy takes the lead. Hayden making the move on Dynamic. Dynamic fighting back on the outside. Sticking with Hayden. Corey right behind looking to take advantage. Dynamic maintains that P7. Zluxy out in front sets fast time for the race. Quick check at the weather. Lightly cloudy all race, so these guys are going to be no problem running on the dry tires. Hayden getting past Dynamic there, and Corey as well. Might be seeing that the softs are falling off a little bit faster than we were expecting. Again, this track, 20 turns, drivers are on full throttle 59% of the time. Top speed, ooh, dynamic getting a little squirrely there out of the turn 11. That's going to cost him a bit. Hayden and Corey going side by side. Hayden gets past. Heavy braking, almost cutting the corner there. Looks like Pixelin gets another warning in the back there. Running P12. Let's take a look at everybody's tire wear. I'm curious to see how these soft runners are handling the wear. They are wearing quite a bit. Looks like Mr. Chris out front, 31% between his two rear tires. Dynamic 23% and C9 at 22. The rest of the medium runners are keeping their tires pretty even keel. Let's go check out a close battle here. Let's go check out Boogie on King C-Dot. A half a second back from C-Dot. C-Dot with barely any battery, down to 14%, whereas Boogie's at 33%. Let's actually check the battery level, see what everybody's doing. So Boogie is actually neutral right now. 3-second time penalty for Pixelin. C-Dot also running a neutral battery. So these guys are relatively charging their batteries. So Boogie's going to have to rely on getting that draft on C-Dot. Trying to make a move. Plus they got DRS. That DRS wing is wide open. He's deploying that battery. Trying to stay with C-Dot. C-Dot also deploying battery to defend. C-Dot takes the inside defending. Boogie around the outside. Can't make it there, but if he can stay tight, he can defend the inside. C-Dot looks like he's glitching a little bit there. Boogie doing a really good job of keeping his distance and not accidentally hitting C-Dot. Oh, and C-Dot a little too wide there on the exit, collects a 3-second penalty. Got a yellow flag. Looks like a Ferrari stationary. Got virtual safety cars deployed. This is going to neutralize the field. Let's check out on DRL Racer, see if he can keep moving. He is missing that front wing. He's going to come in for a pit stop. Get that changed out. Tough break for DRL Racer. Pixelin with a 10-second penalty, speeding the pit lane. Pixelin racking up the penalties tonight. Car comes to a stop. Swapping the tires. Getting that front wing change. It's going to add time. Way he goes. Down the pit lane. DRL switching to the hards. Back out on track. Virtual safety car is ending. DRL Racer is going to have a... Oh no! A drive-through penalty for speeding under VSC. Unfortunately, going up that hill, that Delta bit him. As VSC was ending, he was accelerating, trying to get up the hill. Exceeded the Delta. Unfortunately, now has to do a drive-through penalty. Tough break for DRL Racer X. Let's head on down to Some Good Salt, hunting down Vanilla with Sasuke right behind as they come around turns 19 and 20 onto the main straight. DRS wide open as Salt hunting down Vanilla, who does not have DRS, and Sasuke behind Salt has DRS as well. Vanilla's going to have to defend. So as we were seeing penalties come up, let's check out what we've got. So King C-Dot with a 3-second penalty. Unfortunately, DRL Racer X has that drive-through. Pixelin with a 3-second penalty. Which I believe he did get a 10 for speeding penalty. But let's see what the game does with that. Back to these guys out on track. Salt. Wing is open. Sasuke, wing is open. They're hunting down Vanilla. Sasuke makes a look. Oh, Salt has to back out of it. Almost rear endings. Vanilla. Sasuke takes advantage and gets past Salt. Now Salt's going to have to collect himself, get back after Sasuke. Sasuke has a much lower data or battery than Salt. AO 3-second penalty. That little tussle there into turn 12 luckily helped out Vanilla. Vanilla pulling away. Salt deploying her batteries. Well, we got a car in the back there, a Ferrari. May have been Hayden sideways on the track. Doesn't look like he hit the wall. Oh, he may have. There's a little bit of wing damage. 13% on the right front. Dynamic coming in to get rid of those softs. Sasuke with a 3-second penalty. Trying so hard to hunt down Salt. Vanilla pulling away. Closing in on Echo. Looks like both the Mercedes may have pitted at the same time. Nope, I am incorrect. Mr. Chris pitted 2 laps ago, whereas Dynamic just finished pitting. Sasuke around the outside. Salt defending. Salt maintains the position. Just gotta try to build that gap. Going wide round turns 14, 15. Sasuke following right behind. Half expecting Sasuke to dive down the inside. Here we go through turn 19. Turn 20. Sasuke is going to have DRS. Let's watch that gap behind drop quickly. On half a second, 4/10. Sasuke not close enough to capitalize going into turn 1. C-Dot with another 3-second penalty. Looks like that might have been through the S's, possibly. Salt trying to maintain away from Sasuke, but up ahead, Vanilla 2/10 behind Echo. DRS wide open. Echo defends the inside, but Vanilla gets by. Vanilla heavy braking into turn 12. Echo staying right with Vanilla. Vanilla building a gap on Echo now. Heavy braking into turn 20. Echo. Rear wing opens up for that DRS. Closing. Closing. Our leader is actually in the pits. So your current leader is Vanilla, followed closely by Echo. Looking at it so far, our drivers are required to make 2 pit stops tonight. So far, About half the field has done their first stop. Echo with the wing open, closing. Vanilla maintains a racing line. Echo staying right on that gearbox of Vanilla. Relatively equal on battery deployment. Echo staying right with them. Boogie looks like going to be making a move on Sasuke. Oh, dropping back a little bit. That looks like a very tight battle back there. Oh, they're dropping into the pits. The leader and P2 have dropped into the pits, which then leaves Salt also dropping into the pits. Which leaves Mr. Chris, who has already pitted, coming around to the start-finish. Back out in front. Ooh, a fast stop of 2.3 for our champion defending. Some good Salt. Interesting to see the strategies here. Salt going onto the hard, whereas Vanilla and Echo went onto another set of mediums. So I think out in front, Zeluxi, Vanilla, and Echo might be trying to go for the medium soft. We'll see how well that works out. AO, Boogie, C-Dot are also in the pits. Let's head back up front. Zeluxi chasing down Mr. Chris right on his gearbox. Zeluxi going for the inside with DRS. It's very powerful on this long straight. Mr. Chris not fighting it, knowing he can just tuck him behind to get DRS on the front straight. Zeluxi out in front. Now, Mr. Chris started the race on softs, currently on a set of mediums that are roughly about 22 to 24% worn, whereas everybody else so far is doing really well. Virtual safety car deployed. Mr. Chris taking advantage of this virtual safety car, dropping into the pits, going to change tires. And away Mr. Chris goes. Looks like he switched to the hards. He's going to try to finish this race on those tires. Hayden, unfortunately, is out. He was the cause of the virtual safety car. I think he may have lost it in Sector 2. VSC is now ending. We're back to racing. Looks like Salt and Mr. Chris getting really close together there. I think there might have been a net coding issue, but we are back racing. Mr. Chris getting past Salt. Salt soon to be under assault from Sasuke right behind. Looks like we got some connection issues with C9, unfortunately. So his AI is going to be taking over that car, currently running P8. He's going to rejoin, retake control of the car, keep going. Right now, Salt trying to get that position back from Mr. Chris, with Sasuke hunting right behind. Zeluxi out in front by almost 8.5 seconds to Vanilla. Echo getting a warning for corner cutting. As the field's spreading out a bit. Ooh, Mr. Chris. Looks like he had a late break to turn one. Salt had to take a little bit of a maneuver around. Mr. Chris just absolutely chewing up his battery right now. Oh, it's recharging. But he was down to almost 15%. It's recharging up to 25 now. Behind Salt, you got Sasuke with about 44%. He's deploying, trying to catch up to Salt. As we go around turn 11, we get onto the straightaway here. Salt within DRS opens the wing. Sasuke not close enough for DRS, but Mr. Chris has DRS off of Echo up in front. So using that DRS up ahead, he is able to keep them at bay, but Salt with 61% battery, he has a better option than either car on either side of him. But let's go on board, or go with Mr. Chris here, who's hunting down Echo within half a second. Let's see what he can do going through here. Can't get close enough into turn 1 to make a move. Getting a little sideways there. A little bit of a net code. Unfortunate jumping around there. Ooh, Zaluxi with a warning for a corner cut. And Vanilla, first and second place, getting warnings. Let's actually check out our penalties and warnings. Ooh, those guys up front have to be real careful. Zaluxi and Vanilla both have 2 warnings. They get another corner cut. Both of them, one or the other, will get a 3-second penalty. Mr. Chris keeping it clean, sticking with Echo. Echo moves to the inside to defend. Mr. Chris gets ahead, and Echo tucks in right behind. Now Mr. Chris is on a mission to pull away from Echo and chase down Vanilla. But Echo's not going to let him get away. Ooh, Salt with a 3-second penalty. Echo right behind DRS is wide open. Watch as Echo chasing Mr. Chris. Mr. Chris heavy braking. Echo DRS wide open, goes to the inside, gets past Mr. Chris, going up to turn 12. And Echo cleanly by Mr. Chris. I think that might have been a medium versus hard combination, because they're roughly about the same on ERS. Mr. Chris not letting him get away. Mr. Chris's wing is open. He is super close. Don't believe he'll have enough room to make a move here in turn 1. He does not. Mr. Chris staying so close, going through those S's, right on the edge. Going up the hill, through turn 9, back down the hill, through 10, now heading down to 11. Mr. Chris staying right with Mr. Chris. Echo defends the inside. Mr. Chris gets past, but Echo staying nice and close with Mr. Chris. Gap staying right around half a second. CDOT gets past Dynamic. Let's head down there. Vanilla or Zluxy into the pits. Oh, Pixelin off. Bounce off the wall. Gets going again. Caught that at a very auspicious moment. The car looking pretty rough right now. Got full battery, so let's see if he can get back going again. Let's check out the close battle with CDOT right behind C9. CDOT with very minimal battery, 20%. The C9's 20%. So they're about even on battery. Yellow in sector 3. CDOT with a 3-second penalty for going wide there. Teammate to hunt down. Looks like Pixelin's getting out of the way. Sasuke retired from the session. Where is Sasuke? Oh, looks like down by turn 8. This car has despawned. We have safety car. Safety car is out. Let's check to see what everybody has for pit stops so far. Zluxy, Mr. Chris, Dynamic, Pixelin are the only cars that have completed their 2 pit stops that are required. Let's see what happens out front. Is Vanilla going to go for a pit stop here? They are. So this is going to allow Mr. Chris to get past and go. Go catch the safety car. Oh, Mr. Chris is in the pits too. So, our leader driving up to the safety car is Zluxy. Let's check real quick. Everybody's shuffling around. We're going to try another couple cars heading into the pits. So for now, what we can do is we can actually look at the race story for all of our drivers. So Zluxy, our pole setter, started P1, currently P1. Great drive so far. Next up is Vanilla, started 3rd, now P2. Great drive so far. Corey started 5th, now in 3rd on those hards. Then we've got Mr. Chris. Unfortunately, he started 2nd, now is in 4th. Echo 4th, now 5th, only losing that 1 position. Some good salt. Up 1 from 7th to 6th. Ayo, 12th to 7th. That's a big move of 5. CDOT, 13th to 8th, another big move. C9, 14th to 9th. Dynamic, unfortunately, down 1. Started 9th, now P10. Boogie, breaking even. 11th and now 11th. Then looks like, oh, we lost Pixelin. Pixelin's out. So, back up front, let's check real quick what we have for gain loss. This will be a good Yep, so you got those three guys back there, AO, C-Dot, and C9. All three of those drivers are up 5 positions since the start. So far, of the remaining cars that are still driving, Mr. Chris down 2 compared to everyone else. So majority of the field that moved up is due to our 4 retirements of Sasuke, Pixelin, DRL, and Hayden. We are on lap 18 of 28. Currently waiting for a couple cars in the back to catch back up. Let's see. Right now, Corey in P3, 9-lap-old hards. So as before we restart, let's check to see who still needs to make one more pit stop. Everybody's made. They're required to, except for Corey. So at some point, Corey will have to pit again in the next 10 laps, which is unfortunately going to drop him down because the field is currently so close together. So we are actually going to have the camera watch Vanilla as they come around. Field is more or less caught back up, so safety car should be in this lap. Zaluxy is going back up the field, let that safety car get ahead. We're going to stay with Vanilla to make sure that Zaluxy doesn't break away. Let's make sure everyone's reaction time to Zaluxy getting going will work. Everybody's batteries recharged up to 100%. Zaluxy, those tires warm. Green flag. Zaluxy hasn't gone yet. Zaluxy's waiting and waiting. Corey diving into the pits. Zaluxy is away. Vanilla getting harassed by Mr. Chris. Mr. Chris braking hard into turn 1. Puts the hammer down. Vanilla not letting him get away. Single file into the S's now. Mr. Chris moving up to P2 on those mediums. Looks like that was AO going a little wide out of turn 12. Everybody keeping the gaps relatively close together. Mr. Chris not going for the move just yet. Zaluxy on the hard tires compared to Mr. Chris's mediums. So grip-wise, Mr. Chris does have the advantage over Zaluxy. Battery deploys about the same between the top 3 cars. DRS is now enabled. They will not have it on the front straight here, but they will have it on the back straight. Everybody cleanly going through turn 1. No issues so far. Everybody staying very close together. Salt currently the closest to another competitor is Echo ahead of him. Coming up to turn 8 and 9. Now we're going down the hill. Mr. Chris right on the tail of Zaluxy. Mr. Chris is more than likely going to make the move here on this back straight. You can see him up ahead there. DRS wing is wide open. Let's head up to Mr. Chris. C9. Zaluxy now P2. Mr. Chris getting past. Now, the goal for Zaluxy is to maintain that gap to Mr. Chris. Let's check on our penalties real quick. Our top 4 do not have penalties, so it is racing each other straight up. Looks like Mr. Chris is pulling away. That gap forever building. Vanilla catching up to Zaluxy. Mr. Chris sets that fastest time. 1:33.556. And with that fastest lap, he will gain an extra point in the championships. Let's head on back down to Salt as he hunts down. Oh, too far. Let's go to Salt as he's hunting down Echo, keeping it very close. Come around that back straight. DRS wide open. But Echo also has DRS. It is a DRS train. Nobody's really going to be able to make an advantage. Salt looks for the move. Ooh, a warning for Mr. Chris. Looks like he may have overcooked a little bit into turn 12. He's going to have to be very careful going forward. Echo right on the tail of Vanilla. Salt hanging back. Trying to get ready to take advantage of any mistake that might happen up ahead. Let's go with Echo. Again, they're all close enough. It's going to be a DRS train. Vanilla closing in on Zaluxy. Echo and Salt staying pretty close. As they both had DRS, it kind of negates itself, so neither one will really be able to pass each other. Again, Mr. Chris out front on the mediums. 2.2 seconds to second place Zaluxy with Vanilla right behind. This is a very close battle for second through fourth. Sorry, second through fifth. DRS train is activated, moving right along. Everybody's staying single file. Nobody really making a move. Because unfortunately, with everyone basically being set at the same speed, we're not able to make it out in front of each other. Speaking of speed, let's check what their speeds are during the lap. COTA with another warning for corner cutting. And a 3-second penalty. Oof, that is going to add to his total. COTA up to 12 seconds. That is very unfortunate. Not a clean race for COTA. Hopefully in next upcoming rounds, you'll be able to clean that up and keep those penalties away to make the battles a lot closer. Because with that 12 seconds, that is going to basically drop him down to the back of the field. Echo with a warning for corner cut. Another warning for COTA. Down to turn 12. See if Vanilla can get the better run on Zaluxy. Zaluxy's going to defend. Vanilla making the move to the inside. Gets past Zaluxy. Heavy braking down into turn 12, around turn 13. Vanilla now has 2 seconds to make up to the leader, Mr. Chris. We're on lap 23 of 28 here at COTA. Zaluxy dropping back. Five laps left to go. Let's see if Zaluxy can attack Vanilla. DRS is wide open. Stays behind through turn 1. And down the hill. Everyone can see Mr. Chris ahead. Vanilla trying so hard not to lose sight of Mr. Chris. That gap staying right around 2 seconds. Dynamic up to P6 versus King C-Dot. Looks like Boogie's back on C9. Boogie with a 3-second penalty. Unfortunate. Gets past C9. C9 in P10. Just trying to stay with him. Zaluxy back ahead of Vanilla. The gap to Mr. Chris down to 1.8. Ideally, Zaluxy and Vanilla, old teammates from their Haas days last season, should be working together to just close that gap to Mr. Chris, because if they battle it out lap after lap, they're not going to close that gap down to Mr. Chris. Oh, and some good salt with a 3-second penalty, which means he's up to 6 seconds now, which still won't cost him too much because Dynamic is 13 seconds behind, so that Salt will maintain 5th even with those penalties. Vanilla staying right with Zaluxy. Ideally, they will work together to close that gap to 1.8, 1.9 to Mr. Chris. Vanilla gets past. Heavy braking to 12. The gap, unfortunately, opening up to Mr. Chris. Heavy braking there, a little squirrely. The gap grows to Mr. Chris out in front. Zaluxy still on that gearbox of Vanilla. More than likely, Zaluxy is going to make a move. Yep. Zaluxy to the inside of Vanilla up to turn 1. They're just going to battle it out. And unfortunately, Mr. Chris is going to maintain that gap to them. Pretty much down to a DRS battle. Let's go check out what's going on in the back here with AO and C-Dot. Now, C-Dot does have a lot of penalties. So even if C-Dot does get past AO here, there's a difference of 9 seconds. So C-Dot could get past AO and get at least 9 seconds ahead, and AO will still finish ahead of C-Dot. So as we watch the gap here CDOT staying within a half a second. He may get DRS. Well, he does get DRS here. But if he's going to be able to close down that gap, we will see CDOT to the inside. Heavy braking. CDOT cannot make the corner. AO maintains P7 from CDOT. 2 laps left. Mr. Chris lost the line. Zaluxy actually closing the gap down to 1.7. Oh, that was a strange netcode issue there. It looked like Vanilla was inside Zaluxy at one point. Not sure what happened there. We shall see. Looks like Vanilla's jumping all over the place. Zaluxy closing in. Was down to 1.6, back up to 1.5. Mr. Chris with a heavy break there. Vanilla gets ahead of Zaluxy again. That gap to Mr. Chris staying right around 2 seconds. As we come around, $1.7 to Mr. Chris. Mr. Chris's tires are actually pretty worn right now. 41% average in the rear, 40 in the front. CDOT with another 3-second penalty. Mr. Chris across the line for the final lap of the race, keeping that gap of 1.7. Check out the tire wear here real quick. Zaluxy and Vanilla pretty much dead even. Mr. Chris is wearing pretty good, but he is also deploying like crazy to maintain that gap ahead. Down to 1.6, but all Mr. Chris has to do is keep it clean. He'll keep these two battling cars, used to be teammates, behind him. 1.4 now, 1.3. Vanilla giving it everything he's got to try to catch Mr. Chris. Again, Mr. Chris does not have any penalties, only warnings. Top 4, only warnings. Zaluxy on the inside of Vanilla. Vanilla going wide. And Vanilla gets the 3 seconds. Oh, slight contact there between Vanilla and Zaluxy. We are less than a second from Mr. Chris. But that battle right there is going to cost them a little bit of time. Mr. Chris out front. Through turn 19. Oh, Vanilla going wide there out of turn 19. Turn 20. Mr. Chris with the win. Zaluxy P2, Vanilla P3. Echo P4. Followed by Some Good Salt. Dynamic. Leading the rest of the pack. Around the last corner, cross the line, followed by AO, CDOT, Boogie, C9, and that's the last of them. That's everybody. Your driver of the day, Mr. Chris. Very well deserved driver of the day as he executed extremely well as they come out onto the podium to celebrate. Great race tonight by everybody. There we go. Let's take a quick picture of this. Dance down the line. Get our last picture here. And we'll go back to our intermission screen. So, everybody, that was tonight's race. Your winner, Mr. Chris, followed closely by Zaluxy, Vanilla, Echo, Some Good Salt, Dynamic, AO, Boogie, C9, Corey, and King C. Dot as our last runner. Great turnout tonight from everybody. Great race. Many penalties, but I think that's just because it's the first race of the season back. So everybody was getting a little antsy to get back into it. So that is round one. Your winner, Mr. Chris, and the fastest lap and driver of the day. Unfortunately, cannot get the hat trick or the grand slam, as it were, if he had qualified P1. That goes to Zaluxy. So that is round one. Next up, on November 10th, we are going to be in Shanghai. Thanks everyone for coming out tonight. It was a great race. We will see you all next Sunday in China.